Yokoso, welcome to PJL's A to Z of Japan. Today, we are at the letter D, and today's D is for don't mention the war. So, there's this thing in the UK where if England are playing against Germany in practically any sport, especially football, there's this big brouhaha about, the old enemy, bitter rivalries reignited, the game becoming a metaphor, see the name of this video. But to be honest, to be completely honest, it's not really that bad. I mean, true, you're always going to have the occasional meathead squad who probably can't locate Germany on a map. They'll leap at any chance to cause trouble. But on the whole, this so-called rivalry these days it's largely good-natured and tongue-in-cheek. And of course, people move smoothly between the two countries. Nobody would think twice about going to Germany for a holiday if you're from the UK, and vice versa. Especially in October. Oktoberfest, oh yes. Now, I'm not saying it's like a gold standard of international buddiness, especially recently, but it does serve as a good contrast to how Japan, China, and South Korea, also old Second World War enemies, still have scars too sore to touch, and will openly express very real dislike for one another, and still have disputes that, while they may seem petty, are loaded with double meanings for things that they have never really forgiven each other for. Now, I won't go into the nitty-gritty of what went down between these three countries in World War II. There's books, TV series, historians, experts who can do the subject far more justice than I can. But let's just say that they really don't like each other, and it's not just because of that one war. Like the European alliances of old, these Asian giants have fallen in and out of favour with each other down the centuries. So, with all the similarities between Europe and Asia then and now, why haven't these countries moved on to the more mature phase of poking silly fun at one another and tabloid newspapers making god-awful puns, for example? Well, because this is a Japan-centric video series, let's focus on the Japan side of things. Now, the big sticking point here is that Japan has never apologised for their war crimes. But that's not strictly true. If by way of national apology we mean the head of the nation apologises, then yes, the Prime Minister, down the years, they have all apologised. Well, not all of them, but maybe most of them. They have apologised multiple times. The previous Prime Minister, Yoshihiko Noda, said this: "During the last war, Japan caused tremendous damage and suffering to the people of many countries, particularly those of Asian nations. I hereby express my feelings of profound remorse and sincere mourning for the victims of the war and their bereaved family members." End quote there. That seems fairly straightforward as an apology, yeah? And Abe has also given apologies as well, especially on the anniversary of Japan's surrender. Except, where are the national museums dedicated to the Second World War? Where are the monuments? Basically, where is that lasting apology? That is a standing, emphatic statement of remorse. The closest Japan has to this is Hiroshima, which is a hotbed of entangled emotions for the Japanese. And you also have Yasukuni Shrine, dedicated to Japan's own war dead. And that's not just Second World War, that's just down all the ages. See, that's one of the problems, at least that's how I perceive it. At any moment, Japan could retract a well-worded apology to Korean comfort women, aka sex slaves, if it benefits them politically, or undo the good it did when some dumbass politician puts his foot in it. Former Osaka Mayor Toru Hashimoto said this a few years ago, that comfort women were necessary to keep the discipline amongst Japanese soldiers in Korea, and that the American soldiers based in Okinawa should do the same. I fucking kid you not. Best yet, When he was on the receiving end of a shitstorm of complaints, he felt that was unfair. Unfair! He retracted his words, but he never apologised for them. And that was the former mayor of Japan's third biggest city, everybody. But, is it all Japan's fault? Oh no. Oh no. This is not in any way to cover up Japan's side of things, of course not. But China and Korea also play games here. For one thing, China is a semi-closed country with a carefully controlled media. But the world is opening up and knocking on the doors of the world's second biggest economy now. The one-party system is under threat, and the quickest, most effective way to whip up some unity is by beating the nationalistic drum. This, mixed with the average Chinese person's overall ignorance of true Japan because of the screened media, means that Japan will find it very hard to reconcile with them, no matter how hard they try. For South Korea, though, there is perhaps a better chance of reconciliation, just by virtue of being more culturally similar, I think. They're both more open, more democratic countries. But it is a similar story here, though. A politician gets unpopular, so said politician seeks to score cheap points by mouthing off against Japan. That and the comfort women issue continues to be an old wound that never heals while folks pick at it. Never say never, though. When all is said and done, day to day, most people in Japan and South Korea and China, they're all fairly indifferent to their Asian cousins, really. And I think they quietly enjoy each other's shared products and pop culture, even if they don't realise it. The number of times you can go around a Japanese supermarket or electronics store and see the words "Made in China" on most products. Now, that is only the upper crust who play the territorial dispute games while beating their chests that seem to really care about their old enemies. And sadly, for now, that's all that's needed to drag people along with them in their argument. Can't we all just calm down and play a good old-fashioned game of football? Oh, well, never mind. And that's it for today's A to Z of Japan. Thank you very much for listening, readers. The written version of this is on my website, the link of which is in the description below, along with links to all my other media, as well as a link to my Patreon if you wish to support my work. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.